Colossians 3:10, it says, "Put on your new nature and be renewed as you learn to know your Creator and become like Him." And I just, that phrase, "learn to know," just for some reason really stuck out to me, because, you know, that's in essence is the process in our Christian lives, is to learn to know Him.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Leave It Better. I'm Mackenzie Hamilton, and today we have Austin Bourne on the show. Austin, I'm really excited to hear what you have to share today.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So you're entering into your sophomore year. You're a distance runner on the track team here, but eligibility-wise, you're still a freshman, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, all the crazy eligibility stuff right now with last season being canceled, and so thinking of it, you've been here, this is your second year, and you've been training this whole time, been running, I don't want to know how many miles, but you haven't been able to compete yet.
Not yet. Still, based off of last year, we were expecting to, you know, I was coming in really excited to race, was doing everything, you know, pretty well, and then got here, and 2 or 3 weeks into being at Southern Miss, I got an injury that, you know, it first started off as like, oh, this is going to be pretty minor, no problem, but by the end of it, I was out for like 2 months, and so wasn't able to race during indoor season because my teammates got to go and race indoor because we just missed the COVID for indoor season, and so that was kind of disappointing, you know, watching my teammates from afar, but was really excited, getting ready to go into outdoor season, was feeling like I was in really good shape. And then I think it was 8 days before our first meet, that's when, you know, COVID obviously hit and shut down everything. So that was kind of tough. And, you know, running for the past couple years, I've kind of been in that cycle of run pretty well for a little bit, then get injured, and then kind of do it all over again. And I know, like, hearing your story, you've had the same injury struggles a little bit. And it can be pretty tough and be kind of almost like a helpless feeling, because it's just, you know, your body just doesn't want to cooperate with what your goals are. But, you know, through that, I've kind of had to learn more about running and more about, you know, faith and putting hope in what really matters. And, you know, I've been learning through my coach and just how important, you know, we talk about it all the time, but trusting the process is, and, you know, putting the emphasis on the day-to-day rather than always focusing on the big picture. And so that's really where I've kind of been these past 2 years or year and a half since I've been at Southern Miss. So.
Yeah, you mentioned trusting the process, and I know that's what you want to talk about today. And I'm interested to hear, like, what the Lord has been saying to you, because I know, like you said, from personal experience, kind of each injury, I feel like the Lord has taught me something and, like, used that time to teach me something or to show me something. So during these last couple of months of you not being able to compete, you training for, hopefully, fingers crossed, this winter and spring, what have you been learning?
You know, this fall has been kind of similar to most falls. Like, we just kind of just go through training. For us, as the guys team, we don't have a men's cross country team for the distance dudes, so we just train and do the tough stuff that's not super fun, just like a lot of mileage, a lot of, you know, the harder workouts, not the harder workouts, but the bigger workouts that you're just building the base. And through these past few months, I had a little injury a couple weeks ago where I was out for about a week and a half, and it was just one of those things again where I was like, oh no, please don't be any bigger than it has to be. But through that, I mean, at that time, I was reading through Colossians. And, you know, I've been injured in the past, and I'm kind of going through an injury then, and I'm just like, come on, Lord, please don't let this be another, like, catastrophic thing that sets me on the bench for a while. But through that, I was reading, and it just really, the Lord was talking to me and speaking through me of how important, like, the process is. And that's, you know, of course, in running and, of course, in athletics, you have to show up every single day and to put the work in. But also, he taught me that, you know, in faith, and in our walk with the Lord that it's the exact same way. It's not something that we just develop all at once. It's not something where we just wake up and we're a super Christian. You know, we have to continually be striving towards a goal and towards hopefully just getting closer to the Lord. So
Yeah, I always think of the term, like the church term, sanctification,
right.
which means basically like each day we're striving to grow more and more like Christ, and like shedding and growing. And so like, what have you seen that way, like taking it step by step? We need patience. So how have you been able to gain patience during this time?
I think, you know, just it's been you know, if you pray for patience, sometimes you get an opportunity to be patient that isn't always super fun. And through that, through the injuries and through just the waiting to run and to race, and that I've just been able to really kind of step back and see what matters, what really matters. And you know, through that I've kind of gone back a lot of times, you know, during the injury and during the waiting, I've had to go back to like, why does this matter to me? Like, why do I love this? Why is this something that I get up day after day, early in the morning, when it's cold, when it's hot, when it's raining? Why is this something that I'm constantly trying to focus on and do well in? And in that same way, like learning that, you know, in faith is the same way. We want to, you know, we always want to do better. We want to sin less. We want to do good things more. But at the heart of it is Jesus. At the heart of it is, if we're missing, you know, Him, we're not going to really do what we're called to do. We're gonna, you know, if we're just, you know, I wanted to pull up Colossians 3, because that's something that, you know, the Lord was just over these past few months has just been pouring into my heart. And I don't read the whole thing, but you know, it's talking about basically Paul's writing to this church, and he's telling them, you know, what to take out and then also what to put into their lives. And so he's telling them, you know, have nothing to do with sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires. Don't be greedy. Don't do any of that. Don't. He says, get rid of anger, get rid of rage, malicious behavior, slander, dirty language. And then at the little further, and then it's talking about, you know, what to do. It's talking about, you know, put on the righteousness of the Lord, clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, patience, and then allowing for each other's faults and forgiving one another. But my favorite verse, and the one that, you know, it kind of seems like it's almost like a skim over verse, but it just hit me these past few months, was verse 10, is Colossians 3:10. It says, put on your new nature and be renewed as you learn to know your Creator and become like Him. And I just, that phrase, learn to know, just for some reason really, really stuck out to me, because, you know, that's in essence is the process in our Christian lives, is to learn to know Him, is to, you know, sit in, you know, His presence in the mornings and nights, whatever, you know, you do your quiet time, and to learn to know Him. You know, we don't wake up, like I said earlier, we don't wake up one day and we're a super Christian. We have to learn to know Him. And one of the things I've heard before that, you know, really kind of put it in, like, made an example out of it, was, you know, we always, like I said earlier, we always want to get rid of the bad things and put in new things, put on the good things of the Lord. And I heard this, like, analogy one time. It was like, imagine, like, we had a cup of coffee sitting right here. Well, say that the coffee in there is the sin, and we can get that sin out by, you know, just dumping the coffee out, but the cup's still empty, and there's so much things that could fall into it, and it could become filled with other things, but they aren't of the Lord, and they're ultimately still not where we need to go. But there's another way that we can get the coffee out, and it's just, say we had a giant pitcher of water right here, and we just start to slowly pour water into it, and it's not all at once going to just come flying out, but eventually, day by day, little by little, it's going to just pour out one by one. And then what you're left with, one is you've kind of taken out that sin, but also you've got pure, good, living water in there. And then it doesn't stop when the coffee's out. Then you continue to pour it in. Then your life becomes able to pour out into others. You're able to share the goodness of God and of Christ and of what He's doing in your life by simply just staying with him and learning to know him. That's the process of just pouring him into your life, and that's something that he's really been teaching me is like, I'm one that I struggle with having a daily quiet time as much as anybody. This isn't something that I'm like good at, and I'm trying to, say everybody should be like this. I'm learning this as much as anybody. It's just, I know that when I'm connected to the power source, I'm so much more charged up. And I have so much more opportunity and energy to go and to be the light to people that that I interact with and that I see on an everyday basis. And so that is what the Lord has really been teaching me these past few months, is just that process of continually just being in His presence and being connected to the source of living water.
Oh, so. That was beautiful. Yeah, like it reminds me of John 15 and like being like rooted in Christ, and like if we can't bear fruit, which is like it's talking about the fruit of the Spirit in there, like we can't bear that fruit if we're not connected to Him. And so, man, that was so good. And I love if this is a perfect transition, like you were saying, like pouring into Christ and having Him pour in your life so you can overflow to others. I just love that. So last question for you, like how are you trying to pour into others' lives to leave them better than you found them?
I think for me it's been just trying to build authentic relationships here while I'm at Southern Miss, and I've got quotes from other people. I don't always have great quotes for myself, but I heard this summer at a FCA leadership camp that I was able to help out with. This guy was talking about, basically discipling others and teaching others. He said that, you can tell everybody all about the Lord and all about, the good things He's done, but it doesn't really resonate with them until you pour out, your time and effort with them. And he said it this way, and it was like a super, super powerful quote. He said, "No one cares about how much you know until they know about how much you care." And that was just like, kind of a gut punch too. Is like, I want people to, of course, know about the Lord, but also want them to know how much that I care about them, and that to be like, how Swayze says, speak the gospel, with your life more than speaking it with your words. And so I've really wanted that to be how I'm leaving this place better, is to just build authentic relationships with people, and when the opportunity comes, of course, to open my mouth and share about what the Lord has for them, and what He can do in their life, and what He's done in my life. And because that's the reason that we do what we do. It's not because we just want people to check boxes and be super Christians, but we want them to experience the love and joy and grace and peace and perfect love that Christ is. And that's just where I want to, what I want to be, and how I want to leave this place better, is just to build authentic relationships with people, and to maybe not have a super giant ministry, but to know that I've got disciples or people that I'm really pouring into wholeheartedly. So
that's awesome. I see you doing it, so keep it up. Thank you so much for being on today. It was great hearing about you, and I hope that your injuries disappear and you're able to race.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, that would be awesome. Sweet.